I think this group has been sold on Caleb Williams, the quarterback, for quite some time.
Absolutely.
I think what they wanted to do was become comfortable with the person. And I got to be honest with you, I haven't talked to anybody up there, but I feel that they feel more comfortable even with who the person is, even more so than who the quarterback is, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Every story that you're hearing coming out about Caleb Williams is that his teammates love him, his coaching staff loved him.
Yes.
And I listen, I love ball. You love ball.
I love ball.
Chris loves ball.
Kevin,
we don't
love ball.
He loves pretzels.
He loves ball.
He loves pretzels.
okay.
He loves pretzel sticks.
We know that.
Foot-long pretzel sticks.
But there's one man in this city that loves ball more than anybody, and it's Matt Eberflus. And so when he said these things,
you could see his character, his football character there, his football knowledge as I talked through that.
That's sold. Sold.
Oh, yeah.
Sold.
Well, I mean, look, again, I think they've been sold on
Loves ball.
who he is as a quarterback. And now, but I think that they have had access to him prior to recent days. And I just think it's confirmed what, look, I hope they're excited about this. I'm not making any grand guarantees or proclamations, but we've been wandering in the NFL desert for a long time. Mm-hmm. I've said this a bunch lately. This team hasn't won a playoff game since January of 2011. They haven't had consecutive winning seasons since 05 and 06. If anybody out there is still pining for the same old mediocrity, I don't know what you're looking for. Like, I'm excited about the infrastructure that they've put in place to put around this young quarterback. Am I guaranteeing that he is going to be this generational player? No, I'm not going to do that. There will be ups, there will be downs. But I will be disappointed if this isn't a quote-unquote successful 2024 campaign.
Of course.
And at the end of the season, he should be playing better than what we've seen at the quarterback position in each of the last 3 years. That's my expectation. He's got a better group around him, and I think he's got a higher ceiling. Doesn't guarantee that he's going to be successful, but my expectation is that he is going to be a good football player even as a rookie. And guess what? If for whatever reason this doesn't work out, regardless of what the ardent Justin Fields supporters feel, I'm going to be just as critical of Caleb Williams as I was at time of the play of Justin Fields.
absolutely.
And it will be earlier rather than later.
Just like we were with Fields and Trubisky.
Correct.
Like, you have to be just as critical. And listen, I know I've learned one thing about Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus is that they're horrible poker players. They just let you know. They just let you know kind of everything. And when Matt Eberflus said this, that the next time they see Caleb Williams, presumably next week, as he comes in for his top 30 visit, they're going to start, or they're going to not start it. They're going to continue the install with him?
Yeah, we'll just continue on some of the install that we installed there in the pro day. We'll just keep continuing on that journey, teaching him more of the offense and then, having him give it back to us and see where he is that way. And he's been great that way. And, again, spend some more time visiting with him. And, he'll get a chance to spend some more time with the offensive staff, that wasn't there at the pro day. And it's going to be good.
So, Coach, is this confirmation you will, in fact, select Caleb Williams as the first overall pick in the NFL draft in April?
You could see his character, his football character there, his football knowledge as I talked through that.
It's so funny, too. Like, I was reminded by Albert Breer in Indianapolis when we were at the Combine. He was like, some of the noise kind of reminded him, he said, of going back to the Andrew Luck draft. Where remember where it was Andrew Luck and RG3. And there was some noise leading up to the draft. Oh, maybe RG3 was going to overtake Andrew Luck as the top overall pick or the number one ranked quarterback. And I was like, that's nonsense. Nobody inside the NFL circles at that time felt that way. That was just a product of people creating stories and whatever. Mm-hmm. And that's, like recently you've heard, well, they really like J.J. McCarthy. They may
Mm-hmm.
like another guy. They're picking Caleb Williams unless something dramatic occurs.
Yeah.
And you just heard it from the head coach's mouth.
Yeah, I don't think
the
that this
install
is
going to occur. Wait a second. We installed the entire offense, and then we decided that we wanted to draft Jaden Daniels. Oh, hell, I hope he forgets what we just installed.
No. They're not even going to, or Poles isn't even going to Drake May's pro day.
And by the way, go back in time as well if you were looking for breadcrumbs. Mm-hmm. When Shane Waldron was hired as the offensive coordinator, there was nary a conversation with Justin Fields.
Well,
There was
we
a
texted.
text.
We texted.
We texted, and there was no distribution of a playbook.
Nothing.
And if you were going to move forward with your existing quarterback and a new offensive coordinator was just hired, the first thing those guys do, if you're going to continue that relationship, is you meet, you hand him the playbook, and you get to work.
Of course.
None of that happened.
Of course. Chris is in Washington. What's up, Chris?
Hey,
Chris.
Morning, guys.
Good morning.
Just a thought experiment. Look, we're in Nirvana now, right? We've got our offensive coordinator. We have our quarterback to be, and life is grand. But just a question. So, let's say the chips fall a little differently, right? They win the Denver game. The other games that could have been won get won last year, and the Bears end up as a 10-win team, right? They're in the playoffs. What happens now? They still have the first pick. So now what happens? Are the Bears still looking at Caleb Williams, or how does that play out?
Well, if you had the same level of quarterback play but still found a way to win 10 games, I would say that the quarterback was still on the table. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because at that point, 10 games gets you into the playoffs.
Well, I'm saying, listen, if you got to the playoffs on the back of your defense and your quarterback played in the manner in which he continued to play, it wasn't a big reason as to why you won those 10 games, would you still be interested in a quarterback? I would say yes, Chris. If, in fact, he had been a bigger reason as to why you won those 10 games, then maybe my answer would be different. But, look, I mean, the last 8 games where Justin was, and once again, I can't believe I'm slipping back into this referendum on why they made the decision that they made. We can live in this happy land. Well, what if they would have won 12 games? They didn't. They won 7. And I don't live in that arena where everyone says, well, they should have won 10 because of the epic collapses. Well, guess what? They collapsed.
They didn't.
They didn't win those games.
Yeah, you are what you are.
You are what you are. You are a 7-win team. And in the last 8 games, when all this progress was supposed to have happened, and there was some, their offense failed to score an offensive touchdown in 3 of those last 8 games. And I don't consider 1 play or 1 yard, 8 play drive against Cleveland as an offensive touchdown drive. I just don't. It was a fantastic play that they finally got into the end zone. But that was courtesy of Eddie Jackson and the defense. They won 3 games in the final 8 without scoring an offensive touchdown.
Yeah.
Highlighted by doing the same thing against Green Bay that they had done against others. And it wasn't good enough. I guess we can play that hypothetical game. And I sense a little sarcasm in Chris's voice. I don't think that I'm optimistic, and I think that they've done a nice job creating a good infrastructure for the next young quarterback. But I'm not guaranteeing you anything, and that kid's got to come in and play.
Of course
he's
he
not
does.
getting any passes.
No. I think that, that's the win total yesterday that was posted on DraftKings yesterday is 8.5. I think I would take the over. It's juiced up pretty high to the over at like minus 140, minus 150 now.
If they win 8 games, Adam, something went wrong.
Yeah.
Either somebody got hurt or the progress wasn't made or they didn't develop their guys.
I think they need to make the playoffs, but I don't think inside the building they necessarily have to make the playoffs.
I'm not suggesting that it's go to the playoffs or somebody's getting fired. I'm just telling you from my chair, if you only win 8 games next year, something went wrong. I mean, you've got a favorable schedule, and I know that can change week to week based on injuries and all kinds of other stuff, but you basically got a last place schedule, right? I mean, if you look at it, it's fairly favorable.
Yeah.
You've got a much better offensive cast of characters inside that huddle with a young quarterback that you're using the first overall selection on, so your expectation level is high on him. Your defense, especially in the second half of the season, was top 5, right, or top 7. Like, come on. If you're not going to win more than 8 games next year, then my expectation level is higher than that. I'm not suggesting they're going to win the NFC and go to the Super Bowl.
No.
But you better win more than 8 games.
Absolutely. I think so. I'm betting a bet the over.